Welcome to the BFDI all important characters who actually matter and have competed. Welcome to all BFDI history, all seasons contestants. Overrated to underrated tier list. Now, there's 5 tiers. Way overrated. These are people who I believe are way too popular for how good they are. Slightly overrated. These are people who are a little bit too popular for how good they are. Rated well. These are people who I believe are exactly as well rated as they deserve to be. Slightly underrated. These are people who I think are just a little bit not popular enough for how good they are. And way underrated is people who I think are nowhere near as popular as they should be based on them. So, let's begin. I'm going to try to give a little bit of reasoning for why I believe, because I tried this before and it was like 3 minutes long, and I want this video to be a bit longer than that. Let's start with 8-Ball. Now, I think 8-Ball is slightly underrated. I, for one, quite enjoyed 8-Ball's presence, and I genuinely do think that if he rejoined in, I suppose debuted into Teapot, it would have been really interesting, but I understand why Pencil and Lai did. And I really hope 8-Ball gets more time to shine in the future, because cool character. Balloony is way underrated. Going into BFB post-split, my top picks to win were Balloony and Loser, so I'm sure you know how I felt about 4 episodes into that season. Oh, and then it was Fiery, by the way. Yeah, I think Balloony is one of the... Balloony got so snubbed by being in post-split. They should have put someone else, like, Grassy or something. I don't know. Someone else green. Oh yeah. Balloony got totally screwed over. And I feel super bad. Or Foldy. Foldy would have... No. Grassy. Grassy should have been there instead of Balloony. Because Balloony would have fit in way better in Teapot. He could have had his thing with Cloudy. They just forgot about that thing with Cloudy. I'm so mad about Balloony being in post-split BFB, genuinely. Anyway, Barf Bag. Now, I think Barf Bag is rated perfectly. I don't think there's anything particularly interesting about Barf Bag, and I don't think Barf Bag is anyone's favorite character. Rated well. Basketball is rated well, I think. I was gonna say slightly overrated, but no, I think ever since Basketball's been kicked out, that has reduced slightly. Now, Belle, I think, is slightly underrated, and I think I enjoyed Belle. I mean, there's not very many characters who I actively dislike. Fiery Jr. But there are Pillow, but there are characters who I think had missed potential, and Belle is certainly one of them. I think Belle could have done so much more. Moving on to Black Hole. Moving on to Blocky. Now, I think Blocky is rated pretty well. There's not really much to say about Blocky. He's a decently alright character, and he's decently alright rated. Moving on to Bommy. I think Bommy is slightly overrated, not tremendously overrated. Like, I'd put Bommy at the bottom. Like, if I was listing them from most to least, Bommy would just be ever so slightly outside of the rated well territory. But I do think Bommy just has too big of a presence on OSC culture for me to understand it, because Bommy is just kind of there. Moving on to Book. Book is slightly overrated. I like Book. I think Book's a great character, but I think that in an ideal world, especially when it comes to BFDIA, Book would have been eliminated about 5 episodes ago. Good character, not a get super deep into the competition character, though. Moving on, Bottle. This newest episode, I think, has pushed Bottle into the rated well category. I would have said slightly or way over. I would have said slightly underrated before, but this newest episode, I think Bottle's popularity has increased slightly, maybe even pushing it to the slightly overrated category, but I'm gonna say Bottle is rated well. Hey, look, it's symmetrical. Now, Bracelety. Although Bracelety is not tremendously popular, I think Bracelety deserves to be a little bit less popular. Bracelety is slightly overrated, because I can't put anyone who's already not the most popular in way overrated. That doesn't make sense. Bubble. I think Bubble is slightly overrated. And Bubble isn't even that popular anymore. I think Bubble... I'm thinking specifically about BFDI Bubble, and I know everyone talks about only BFDIA and Teapot these days, but I'm trying to think about these characters as a whole. Bubble in BFDI was a character who I would have seen getting around 10th, 11th, not 3rd place. I understand it. I understand she's the best out of the Alliance by far in that season. But she's just done too good historically, and she hasn't even done that good historically. Now, Cake, I think, is slightly underrated. And I think Cake is slightly underrated because it's just fun. It's fun. He's a fun character. I think he had a lot of potential, and then he got snubbed. Moving on to Clock. Why? Clock! Moving on to Cloudy. Cloudy is way underrated, right next to his friend Balloony. Cloudy was, for a brief time, my favorite contestant in BFB, pre-split, and I'm so sad. I'm so sad that he got eliminated when he did. Cloudy's just another one of those missed potential characters who just didn't get anywhere near enough screen time, and I'm genuinely quite upset about that. Coiny is rated well. I was considering putting Coiny here. It's slightly overrated, but I do think Coiny is rated well. I think he's just popular enough to be, to not be underrated, but I don't think he's so popular that he's overrated. He's pretty close to being overrated, though. Moving on to David. Now, you might be thinking, oh, David's overrated. No, David is rated. Everyone hates David, and that is what he deserves. Next is our boy, our main man, D to the O to the N to the U to the T. No, that doesn't work. It's too many letters. Donut. I think Donut is slightly underrated. But significant, the least underrated out of all of these guys, right? I think he's got a similar thing to Bommy, of if I was listing them, he would just be slightly outside of the rated well category, but the other way. Dora is slightly underrated. I think Dora, due to being a David and a non-object, is naturally going to be unpopular, but I think Dora actually has a lot to her, and I think people have kind of, some people have acknowledged that she has a lot going on, and she's not just David, but I think a lot of people don't, and I think that's why I'm gonna have to say she's slightly underrated. She's not my favorite character. I can't put her in way underrated because I don't particularly like her, but I think there is more to her character than people are willing to admit. Now, Eggy... I think Eggy is rated well, and you can interpret that however you want, a person on YouTube. Eraser. Eraser was a fun character. He was a very fun character to watch. Do I think he deserved as much screen time as he got? No. Fanny. Now, you know what I think about Death Pactor as you're looking at it. I do think Fanny is the most interesting member of Death Pact. More so than Black Hole, at least. I used to really like Black Hole, I don't anymore. Fanny, I'm gonna... I think just because Fanny, as well as all the other Death Pact Again members, have survived so long that I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You can't be anything less than slightly overrated. Even though I quite like you, I think you're slightly overrated. Now, Fiery is an interesting one, because you might know, I'm sure you do, that Fiery won BFDI. But I think, even then, Fiery is still slightly underrated. Fiery is rarely talked about, and even rarer cared about these days in the modern object show climate. And I think while that's okay, he's not tremendously relevant in the show anymore, I do wish people would acknowledge him for what he was. Because it's not like he has just disappeared. He's still a character, and he's still alright. Fiery Jr., on the other hand, is rated well. Everyone hates him, and that's where he deserves to be. Flower will be joining our friend Black Hole in Way Overrated. Genuinely, if Flower stayed mean, I would have liked her more. There's so much you can do with a mean character that you just can't do with Flower. I like the idea of the redemption arc, but I think it was pulled off in a way that wasn't particularly interesting. I at first, and I'm sorry, Flower did not deserve to win BFB. As much as that makes for a nice arc of first person eliminated and BFDI goes on to win a season, as much as that's a cool arc, it was very forced. And I'm one for forcing eliminations in certain plot beats in my object shows. I've done it. But I try to be a bit subtle about it. Now, Foldy, I think, is way underrated. I really, really like Foldy, like, to an immense degree. Foldy, this is the thing about me, I like characters who suck. I think Foldy, had she stayed in Teapot a little bit longer, could have had a really interesting thing and gone down sort of the... Who's a character? I think Foldy and Bottle could have had their roles reversed. They're kind of similar in that way. It's just that Foldy got the short end of the stick. Fries, I think, is rated well. He's a very fun character to watch, and yeah, he's fun, and people like him. What more is there to say? Gatey. As much as I like Gatey, and I really do, I really, really do like Gatey, overrated. Ever since Gatey became... And Gatey got eliminated, right? It's like, I wanted Gatey to stay there. Actually, no. No, I'm moving her... I'm moving Gatey down. Because of getting eliminated when she did, which frankly, I saw it coming. You can't put someone on Death Pact and expect them to stay in the game. But... yeah. Now, Gelatin suffers from flower syndrome. Why was he a finalist? Why was he a finalist? I get he's kinda cool, but... I'm sorry, this is my hatred of BFB coming through. The finalists, Flower and Gelatin, and Teardrop as the third placer, was the worst final three out of the... Literally any other combination of people would have been better. Literally any. Golf Ball, I think, is rated well. Grassy. Dear Lord! Actually, no. I'm starting to like Grassy a bit more now. Ask me a week ago, I would have said way overrated. Ask me now, I'm saying, oh yeah, you know, not too bad. Still overrated, though. Ice Cube. I could say underrated. I could say slightly underrated, or I could say rated well, but I think it's, like, on the precipice of tipping over. That's the problem with a lot of these people. I feel like I should have added categories in the middle, but I don't know what I would have called them. Now, Leafy, kind of fun. I like Leafy. As you can see, Bubble here, Fiery here. Where did Leafy go? Right in the middle. Lightning? Lightning's slightly underrated. I'm gonna say it. I like Lightning. Not a lot, not a tremendous amount, but enough to think that I think Lightning could have deserved better. Lai? You brought her back and then did nothing interesting with her. Lai is slightly overrated. No, actually, Lai is way overrated. Ooh, Lollipop! A very interesting character. A character I like quite a lot. Slightly overrated. Too popular. Too popular. 7 out of 10. That's the best you're getting from me. Loser. You already know what I'm gonna say. Dear God, Loser, you are my favorite of all time. Now you might be thinking, I thought Tennis Ball was your favorite of all time. No, Tennis Ball is my favorite. Loser is my favorite of all time. There's a very important difference in that Loser is not currently my favorite. But he is the person who I have been the most liking of. He's the one who I have liked the most. If I had to rate them out of 100, he's 99, Tennis Ball's like 95. And Fiery's like 92, you know? I like these characters. They've all been and Cloudy's like 90. These guys have all been my favorites. But Loser's been my favorite of all time. He has the highest peak on my how much I like them meter. Marker! Slightly overrated. Slightly overrated. I'm saying it. I said it. I said it. I said it. What are you gonna do about it? I said it. Match! Slightly underrated. Match is slightly underrated, and I'm not afraid to say it. You can criticize me and harass me and murder me all you want, but she's underrated. Moving on. Naily. I think Naily is rated well. A kinda boring, bland character who got with a kinda boring, bland, non-existent fan base. What more is there to say? Most of them are going to be rated well, by the way. Needle is also going to be rated well, because I like her, but so does, like, everyone else to a certain point. Remember, this is not how popular I think they are, this is how popular I think they are compared to how much I like them. Nickel is a little underrated. I would have liked to see Nickel get a bit further in both seasons, especially Teapot. He got absolutely snubbed. And it's mostly just because I like Adam Katz. No, but I do like Nickel. I think Nickel is a quite entertaining character. I think Nickel got saddled with an unfortunate team. And I think Nickel, both eliminations in fact, Nickel got saddled with an unfortunate team. That's all there is to say. Pen. A perfectly bland character with nothing going on goes into a perfectly bland spot with nothing going on. Pencil. Oh, don't make me say it. Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it. Slightly overrated. Yeah, slightly overrated. Sorry, but I'm right, and you know I am. Pie! Oh my god, Pie is so underrated. Oh my god, Pie. Num 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 num. No, Pie, the Pie Day video. I liked Pie before that video. I like Pie extra much now. Pie is like easily top 30 for me. Which is like top half, but like still, that's something. I think Pie deserved to get way further in Teapot. I don't think Pie deserved to make it to the point we're at now, but I think, you know, swap Pie and Pillow. Speaking of Pillow, oh my god, I hate her so much! She isn't a good character. She's just not. I could rant for hours about why I hate Pillow, But I'm not going to. I'm gonna calm down. I'm gonna breathe. And then I'm gonna put her in way overrated and keep her there, and nothing is going to change my mind. Pin, slightly overrated. Didn't like that new episode of BFDIA. Didn't like it. Didn't like it. Taggy. Or price tag, I suppose. I don't really know people's general opinion on Taggy, so I'm gonna say rated well, because I don't really give a shit. Profiling. Do people talk about profiling still? Puffball. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say she's rated well. I think she's just as popular as she deserves to be. Remote. Slightly underrated. Or rated well. I think Remote... I don't get why Remote got... I genuinely... The elimination that eliminated Remote and Teapot was the only elimination that has truly shocked me. Like, the other ones, I kind of saw them coming. Remote, I was like, what? Robot Flower is slightly underrated. I like Robot Flower. I think she's an interesting idea. Good, decent execution. Eliminated when she should have been, but, you know. Still, I don't think she's as popular as she deserves to be. Mr. Robotti. Figure out what that means. It probably just means nothing, though. Robotti's rated well. He's a nothing character with a nothing... No one thinks anything about him. Rocky. I was gonna say slightly overrated until I remembered how early Rocky got eliminated in Teapot, and then I remembered how far Rocky made it into BFDI, and I know those were two very different times, but come on. Rocky is rated well. I think the boring characters are always gonna be rated well, because there is nothing to them. Like, with characters I have no opinion of, they're always going in rated well. Ruby. I think she's a little underrated. Not by a lot. Similar to what's-his-face, Donut. But, I do think she's slightly underrated. Saw is way underrated. Saw, my beloved. Please, 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 God, why? The fact that both of these two got eliminated the same episode killed me. Because I voted for both of them, and then they both got out, like, to save. Snowball is rated well. That's Spongy. Where'd he go? Snowball is rated well. He's a pretty interesting character, who I kinda like, but used to hate, and now I don't. Well, what do you want from me? Spongy. Stapy. Can you guess? It's way underrated. Are you catching on to my trend? I like the characters who suck. Stapy got so snubbed. My ideal rejoin for that episode of Teapot where people from BFB rejoined, 8-ball of Stapy. 8-ball of Stapy every time. 8-ball of Stapy. 8-ball of Stapy. Bring them back. Bring them back. I want 8-ball. I want all of these guys that are on the bottom row and 8-ball to go into another season against Black Hole, because fuck Black Hole. No, I like Black Hole. He's just too popular. Taco. Slightly underrated for the sole purpose that she lost to Flower in a vote that I'm not entirely convinced was actually the result. Taco may have very well lost, but I do not believe it was by one vote. It's possible. I suppose anything's possible. But, I'm skeptical. That era of BFDI was kind of suspect. Now, given what I said about Flower and Gelatin, can you guess where I'm gonna put Teardrop? That's right. In slightly overrated, because Teardrop's actually an interesting character. Tennis Ball. You might think I'm gonna put him in underrated because of how much I like him, but I'm actually gonna put him in rated well because he's genuinely quite a popular character now. And I like him. Tree. Can you guess where I'm gonna put him based on where I put the other Death Pactors? That's right. In rated well, because I think he's rated well. Yeah, bet you weren't seeing that one coming. I threw you for a curveball. Now for TV. Now for Winner. If you had asked me before the most recent episode, I would have said Winner is way overrated. But I had such a profound and emotional reaction to Winner's thing that I simply can't. Winner is well rated. Woody. Dear God, Woody. How did you make it so far into BFB? And Yellowface. This is the final one. Where's Yellowface gonna go? You're gonna be underwhelmed. He's going in rated well, because he was rated well. So this is my final, probably not actually though. It's 9:40 and I'm 9:50 and I'm quite tired and I didn't think this through very well. Thanks for watching. That's 30 minutes of my life I'm never gonna get back. And also 30 more when I'm editing this.